When you spend thousands of dollars on a particular product, you expect it to work. Not only do I expect it to work, I expect it to last. In this video, I'm going to talk about a product that I recommended about 3 years ago called the Firefly R3800, which is a digital camera system that urologists use in the office that we use that and couple to a lens to look inside a patient's bladder. I recommended this system about 3 years ago after they sent me a sample, and this current video is not a sponsored video. I'm not being paid to make this video. I'm just here to answer a question posed by a member of the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group. And as always, if you have any questions during this live stream on YouTube and Facebook, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Or if you're watching this on the replay, I welcome those comments as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Lin. I'm a urologist in Gilbert, Arizona, also the humble host of the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group, where we crowdsource practice management solutions for everyone's benefit. Okay, let's get right into it. The R3800 consists of a camera head, a power source, and a processor or the console. You connect a monitor or two, if you wish, to the console, and you can project whatever the image is seen by the wired camera head onto any monitor that you like. So it's a wired system, and the difference between this and the biggies like Storz, Olympus, and those big manufacturers is that this is much more affordable. At the time of this recording, the MSRP is about $4,300 US. So it comprises of a camera head that is cabled, and that cable is connected to the processor or the console, and console is powered by a power supply, and then you connect the console to one or two monitors if you wish. I find it extremely helpful to have a digital camera system in the office instead of putting your eyes to the lens. And keep in mind, the urologist who is performing this procedure, if you have to put your eye to the lens, well, where's the lens? The lens is closest to the male and female genitalia. Number one, ergonomically is bad because you're bending over in a very awkward position. And I think for those of you who are urologists, you've all been to the American Urologic Association meetings. You've seen a lot of the older urologists. They all have a hump like this. They're all kind of hunched over. I think part of it may be because they're used to having to bend over to look at a lens. With a digital camera system, you no longer have to do that. You can see the images in crisp 1080p high definition projected onto a screen. Better yet, in my office, I use an Olympus system and I project that image on two different screens. One that is right in front of me so I can look at it very easily in a most ergonomic fashion, and the other is positioned so that the patient can look at what he or she is seeing. For instance, if I see a stone in the bladder, if I see a tumor in the bladder, if I see an enlarged prostate, I can easily show these images to the patient so that he or she knows what is being shown, what I saw, instead of guessing. It is very compelling to show the male patient the lengthy and obstructive prostatic urethra, to clearly show him what he is feeling is because of this, most likely because of this enlarged prostate that is blocking the flow of urine out of his bladder. Seeing is believing, truly. And having a digital system, it's kind of like orgasms and high-speed internet. Once you use that digital system, once you see how easy it is and how crisp those images are, you will never go back. So R3800, the Redfin R3800, fits a nice niche in that it is not outrageously expensive if you were to buy from one of the larger manufacturers. For instance, my Olympus system was over $10,000 when I purchased it. And if you want multiple systems, imagine how much that would run. So this is a much cheaper solution. And also, for those of you who operate out of multiple clinics, it is also very portable because the setup is pretty darn small. And I'm going to show you the Redfin R3800 website. And if you go down here, the whole kit comes in a nice carrying case. Here's the console, here's the cabled camera, and here's the power supply. That's it. So you can literally put it in case and carry it with you wherever you see patients. Now, I'm making this video in response to a comment made by Dr. Dardashti, who said, "Is anyone else having issues with Redfin cameras? I bought a unit in 2019 and the head stopped working properly last year. Light use just for his urolift procedures. The repair costs about $500. Now the video goes in and out as if the connection of the wire is faulty. Estimated another $700 repair cost." And he said, "I know things break, but we're not using this that much. Are you guys having issues?" And Sarah said, "We had the same exact issues." So that is very interesting because when I handled the product, I thought this was a very well-built product. It is solid. The cable is nice and thick. And I figured unless you are dropping the camera system, it should not break under normal use. And of course, whenever I recommend a product, I feel badly if someone has a bad experience, even though I didn't make it. I'm not being paid to review the product. I just simply reviewed it for everyone's benefit. So back in 2019, I made an unboxing video. I did a video on how I used the Redfin R3800 on a urolift procedure. And I felt badly that Dr. Dardashti had a bad experience and Sarah had a bad experience, even though I had nothing to do with it. So I reached out to Dan Lucy, the business manager for Firefly Global, the manufacturers of the R3800 system, and I said, "Hey, I have some users who are unhappy. What is going on?" And so his response in essence is that there are some offices that have used endoscopes, the wire endoscopes with the camera before, and they don't typically have any issues. And the offices that don't have a camera system, and maybe they are rotating the camera, as you know, those of you who perform urolifts, when you're doing the procedure, you're turning the head and the handle of the urolift system during the procedure multiple times. Also, when you are storing the camera system, if you are twisting the wire, so imagine the cable is actually a bunch of wires. And if you're storing it by twisting the cable, and next time you go to the operating room, look at how they store the pedals for your generators when you are doing a TURBT or TURP. I bet they simply wrapped it around the pedal in storage. And you will see, instead of a nice straight cable, it's twisted. And that repeated twisting and untwisting will most likely prematurely wear down the wiring, the delicate wiring that is inside. So it doesn't matter who makes the cable. If you keep twisting it and untwisting it, or if you keep twisting it in the same orientation, clockwise, for instance, you are going to wear out that cable. I will tell you, I've been doing the urolith system procedure in the office since 2017 in the office, and I have used the same camera, as a matter of fact, the same lenses without any issues. Granted, it's not the Firefly system. It's an Olympus camera, but that cable is even thinner than the R3800. And we have had no problems. I'm not saying that it is operator error, but you might want to look into it. These systems are very, very robust. And out of the many systems that have been sold, according to Dan, most users don't have an issue, never had. So to quote him, most of our customers have never had an issue, while we have some that we hear from every few years. So, and he also said this has never been from the console or the processor box or the camera head, but from the cable. And that is, I think, the main problem, how you are twisting the cable, or maybe storage or somehow that cable is being kinked, and the extra stress that is being placed on the cables is what is causing the intermittent failures. So look into how you are carrying and storing the camera system. So let me see if I can show you. So this head, unless you drop it, is nearly indestructible. It's this cable here that is coming off the head, and where it connects to the processor, I call it the processor box or the console. It's the connection from here until you get to the camera. That cable is the weak link and the greatest potential point of failure. So look into how your staff is using it, or how you may be manipulating the cable. Make sure it's nice and smooth when you are storing it, and once you are done using it, you want to make sure it's nice and smooth. What I recommend for systems like this is that you disconnect the camera at the end of the case and then coil the cable that way. That way the cable is allowed to freely rotate along its long axis, and then you're not twisting the cable on itself. That way you can avoid these $500 to $700 repairs and make it last as long as possible. Again, I think out of everything that I've seen out there, the R3800 remains an excellent value for what you get. The portability, the ability to output two different signals out of a single processor box without having to use a signal splitter, so that you can display the images for yourself and also for the patient, I think it's really a good value for the money that you get. And for most users, the reliability is definitely there. And for those who are getting premature breakages, you definitely want to look into how that unit is cared and handled. So the demo unit that was sent to me, I actually gave it to a urologist locally here who visited me in February of 2020. And he also had the same issue. Now, granted, he never had a video camera before, and I let him use it, and he had the same issue with the cable, and he had it fixed. So, and he said in the comments that overall it works fine. One can spend a lot more money and get an expensive system, but it's not necessary. So keep that in mind. Also, from an economic perspective, if you think about it, the repairs may be $500 to $700, and the system now, with the current pricing of $4,300, even if you were to break the cable every few years and it costs you $500 to $700 to repair, it is in the long run, even if you abuse the system, in the long run, it is still a very affordable system. It would take you 35, 40 years to justify getting a more expensive system to have that same break-even point, if you will. And who knows, you may break the more expensive system and the repairs on those are going to be much, much higher. So I would say take care of your equipment, and it will definitely take care of you in your time of need. And of course, nothing is perfect out there. You can buy something and it can break from manufacturing tolerances, etc. But overall, I have not heard of many people complaining about the R3800 system. I would love to hear other people who have used the system and your thoughts regarding the Firefly Redfin R3800 system. And if you're interested in watching an unboxing video, I'll link it in this card over here on the left and on the right, in your case. And if you want to watch how I use the Redfin R3800 system on a UroLift procedure, I will link it on this card to your left. All right. Have a good one. I look forward to interacting with everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.